Hi, we're starting now, okay? Just listen up, okay? Bernie, can you turn your mic on, please, sir?
Sorry. Want me to start all over again? Did everybody hear it? Okay. After the case has been called, the applicant will present their name and address, and then the planning board members will have an opportunity to question the applicant. Tonight, the applicant will be calling in. In the case of a public hearing, it'll be open for public input, at which time anyone wishing to speak to the board regarding the application will come to the podium, identify themselves along with their name and address, and direct the questions to the board. Once all public input has been completed, the applicant or site representative will be given the opportunity to respond to any public input. Once all public input is completed and all questions have been satisfied, the case will be closed to the public input, and the board will then move on to a decision. No further input will be allowed at that point. With that, do we have the applicant ready?
Yes.
Could you please call the first case?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First case on the agenda is case number PB 2022-01-01. Upon the matter of request by Rock Signs LLC, acting as agent for Ridge Portland Rochester LLC, for signage approval to install new wall and tenant panel signage on premises 1233 East Ridge Road in a C business district.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, the person, Rebecca Toombs from ROC Signs, is unable to make it tonight. However, she is on speakerphone if needed. I'll read her application and we could proceed from there due to the weather. That's why she's not here.
That's fine.
ROC Signs would like to propose the installation of 2 LED illuminated channel signs on a 4-inch deep painted aluminum cabinet backer mounted to exterior wall face. Moe's letters to be illuminated in white, Southwest Grill to be illuminated in orange. The arrow will be illuminated in turquoise. The Moe's has already opened this past week, so they're looking forward to putting up the signs in the next week or so.
And Donna, could you please give the name and the address of the person on the phone?
Well, she gave 1233 East Ridge Road, 14617. But her personal address is 612 Boston Road, Ontario, New York.
Is this Rebecca Toombs?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yes.
So we reviewed this in workshop. Is there any questions from the board? I just have one. Is the applicant aware that we're going to ask her to turn the lights or turn the sign on 1 hour before business and then extinguish it 2 hours after?
Yeah, she said they'll put it on a timer.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't at the workshop, but I sent in a couple of quick comments, and just for the record, I just want to make sure that we're good, and I know the first one was already mentioned during the reading of the application, but just for clarity's sake, the application in one place stated that the applicant was looking for the installation of 1 sign, but then obviously the drawings and everything indicated 2, and the testimony said 2, so I just wanted to clarify that on the record. And then since I wasn't at the workshop, are they also looking for the directory monument sign as part of this?
Yes, yeah. The sign was done by another entity, but they will be putting their tenant plate in there. Yeah.
Okay, so my only question on that was, it showed both white and black backgrounds in what I was looking at. I don't know if they could clarify that.
Well, she was explaining to me that it's perforated vinyl, so during daytimes it looks black. During the evening, when the light goes through the holes, it looks white. That's why.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not seeing any. This is a public hearing, correct? So I'll open the public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak to this application, please come to the podium. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Okay. This is, just for track, this is type 2, correct? Or unlisted, I'm sorry, this is unlisted? Type 2. Neg deck.
Mr. Chair, no, sir. I believe I'll defer to the town attorney, but I believe it's just a type 2 action for seeker purposes.
No, Nick? Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion.
PB 2022-01-01, that we approve the application.
Alan, is your mic on?
No, it's not. People prefer it that way.
We prefer the mask too, but, oh,
Right.
sorry.
They would like the full face mask, though. On PB 2022-01-01, we approve the application as presented with 2 signs, and that the current behavior of this town board continues with this application, that the lights are allowed to be illuminated 1 hour prior to opening and extinguished 2 hours past closing time. And I believe, unless there's an objection, that would include the pylon sign on the Ridge Road. And that would be the condition on that, not a recommendation.
I think we already put that with, when the sign application came forward, didn't we? So, for the sign on the road.
I'm just reiterating it then, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, hold on 1 second, I'll take a, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. We have no abstains and no absent. Since we're missing a person, do I have to mark anybody absent? No. Okay. With that, it's approved. You can tell her on the phone, she's all set. Thank you. Okay, go ahead with the next one.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item on the agenda is a town board referral. Upon the matter of request by Jenny Lee for a special use permit to occupy a portion of the first floor as an apartment on premises 1825 East Ridge Road in an M manufacturing district.
Okay, so we discussed this at workshop once again, so Spence, you weren't there. I don't know if you want to add anything or have any questions?
No, the only question I had, which is something I've heard a couple of my other fellow board members mention, is just a question about fire marshal comment. That's the only thing I've got.
So has the fire marshal provided his approval yet?
Yes, he did. He didn't do a formal memo yet, but we do have it in hand scratch, okay. We didn't allow this application to go to the town board until the fire marshal and the building inspector approved it. Because if they didn't, then there would be no need to. So they already approved it, and then it went on to the town board in here. But we'll get something formal for our file.
Okay,
I have one other question.
I have one other question for staff. If we approve this apartment, does that include the entire first floor or just the apartment that we're approving tonight?
Well, the only thing they need a special use permit is for having an apartment in an M manufacturing district. The office is already approved. Is that what you mean?
No, my question is, can they turn all of it into an apartment?
No, it's got to be exactly the way they have it, the same size. If they wanted to, in fact, they already went for special use permit for the upstairs, but they still had to come back for the downstairs portion.
Okay.
So the same thing would happen if they wanted to convert it all to residential, they would have to come back.
Because the special permit's gonna travel with the property, not the owner.
That's true.
What if they did convert it? Would we know it, or? I'm not trying to make a problem for anybody. I just
No,
think that it's,
I think it would be worth mentioning that in our recommendation, however we do so, that we say that it is a recommendation based on the drawing for one apartment.
Right.
That way
Yeah.
we're very clear about what we're positive or negative on.
And because there is a business there, the fire marshal will go there, I think it's every 2 years. So they would notice if all of a sudden there's not a business there.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything operating at the moment.
No, there's not.
Right.
There's not. You're right.
Okay, I'm good with that.
So what was the condition? Just so I can,
It's not a condition because
oh,
it's
it's a
just
suggestion,
a,
I'm sorry.
I mean, if we're ready to go with it, I think that it should be a positive referral on this.
I just had one question.
Yep.
When this property came before us within the last year, and we had some questions about parking when it came up the last time, and now we're talking about adding an apartment with a permanent tenant in it. Are there any, I don't know that there are, but are there any concerns about?
I apologize, Mike, you weren't at the workshop either, right?
I was not, no.
Okay, so I believe, and you guys can confirm, she originally was going to have this person move in the upstairs. Wasn't that the case?
No, she's living upstairs,
living
which
upstairs, but-
requires 2 parking spaces, and then the
needed a
square
place for
footage
her.
downstairs is for the office. And then when that shrinks, so does the requirement of spaces for the office.
Right, not talking about, particularly about requirement. I'm talking about, are there enough parking spaces there for people to park in?
There's enough parking spaces now that there's a reduction in office space. If they get rid of the apartment in the future, another person or herself, then they're still fine.
Okay.
Any other questions before we?
And they have room to add parking if needed.
And I know that this part isn't before us, but I've questioned the signage being on that property that is not advertising that business. That's actually a violation of the code. I would encourage the town board to actually take some action on that, since it is a violation of the code.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep. Going back to this application, you started to make a motion there, do you wanna?
Oh, yeah, I would make a motion then that we do a positive referral on this, and that our referral to the town board is that if they're going to approve it, that it should be limited in scope to what is currently being presented to us. I believe that there is enough parking. There's 6 spaces out front and 3 spaces in the back at the moment. And it's also in keeping with the spirit of what we would like to see in the town is keeping families together, and that seems to be what this project would be doing by allowing the applicant to bring in a family member to live with them also.
Okay, I'll second that.
Mr. Chairman, I would just, for super clarity's sake, propose to add, Mr. Richards said as presented, I would say as presented as one apartment.
Do you want to include that on the first floor, Mr. Reed?
I realize that this is not site plan review, but do you need to indicate in any manner whatsoever that the sign, the
Could
one
you
that we-
speak louder, Brett? You got your mic on?
I realize that this isn't site plan review, but I'm wondering if there needs to be any indication whatsoever that the sign that we've been questioning on the right-of-way is not approved as part of this, or are we in
I don't
any
think
way?
the sign's in front of us.
No, okay, fair enough. I just,
Yeah, the sign's on the front of it.
I just think that the board should actually look at something about enforcement on that. I
Okay.
mean, that's all.
fair enough. I just didn't want it to have some type of acknowledgement that, I don't know, now it's okay or something.
Yeah, this is solely relates to referral as to the use.
Okay, any other questions before I'll go ahead and second that now? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, no abstain, no absence. It's all set. Okay. With that, I don't believe we have any other business before the board. No minutes, no anything.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close.
I'll second that. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Look forward to next month.